Assalamu alaikum. For this week in math, we are moving on to Chapter 8, Measurement. In this video, we'll be focusing on time. So we'll be discussing some key vocabulary and how to tell time. So a clock with numbers that have no hands is called a digital clock. It shows the time using numbers and a colon. So if we look at this example here, the 11 is the hour. The colon right here is what separates the hour and the minutes. And if we look here, it's 15 minutes after the hour, so therefore it's 11:15. A clock with numbers and hands is called an analog clock. A clock face shows the numbers from 1 to 12. The long hand is the minute hand, and the short hand is the hour hand. There are 24 hours in a day, and each day the hour hand moves twice around the clock. It also takes 1 hour for the hour hand to move from one number to the next. So for example, if this clock is telling me that it's 7 o'clock, it'll take another hour for this hour hand to move all the way to 8 o'clock and for the minute hands to move all the way around once. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Therefore, each hour the minute hand moves around the clock. If we look here, the clock has moved 15 minutes. It takes 15 minutes for the minute hand to move 1/4 of the way around a clock. So therefore, it is 15 minutes after 10 o'clock. I look at my short arrow, or my short hand, and it's pointing at the 10. So that's the hour. So I know it's 10. And then I look at my long hand, or my minute hand, and it shows me it's at 15. Therefore, I know that it's 10:15, or because the minute hand has moved 1/4 away around the clock, I know that it's 1/4 after 15. It takes 30 minutes for the minute hand to move halfway across the clock. It is 30 minutes after 10 o'clock, so we therefore say it is 10:30 or 10:30. So we look here, we see that it's moved halfway, so we know it's 10:30 because half of 10 is done, or 10:30. As the minute hand moves and it becomes closer to the next hour, the hour hand will start to slightly move up and move between the 10 o'clock and the 11 o'clock. It takes 45 minutes for the minute hand to move 3/4 of the way around the clock, shown in this example here. It is 45 minutes after 10 o'clock, so we therefore say it is 10:45. When the minute hand has moved through another quarter, which is this space here, it'll be 11 o'clock. So, when the minute hand moves 1/4 of the way, that's 15 minutes. When the minute hand has moved half of the way, that's 30 minutes. When the minute hand has moved 3/4 of the way, it's 45 minutes. The analog clock shows here that it's 20 minutes after 9. So I look at my hour hand, it's pointing to the 9, and then my minute hand is at the 4, which tells me that it's 9:20. The way that you can figure out what these numbers, the 1 to 12, mean is that we skip count. So we start at 12 and we skip count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Wherever the long hand meets the minute hand, that tells us what minute it is, what minutes we're at. So in this example, we're at 9:20, or it's 20 minutes past 9. This analog clock shows 55 minutes after 11 o'clock, or 5 minutes before 12 o'clock. So we can either write that it's 11:55, or that we can say that it's 5 minutes before 12, or 5 to 12, or 11:55. Okay, again, I look at my hour hand. Okay, it's almost at the 12, but it's not quite at the 12 yet, so I know it's 11. And if I had skip counted all the way, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on, when we get to the 11, we know that it's 11:55. Or 5 to 12, because there's 5 minutes until 12 o'clock. Or we say 11:55. This digital clock shows 20 minutes after 4 o'clock. So we write 4:20, or we say 4:20. This digital clock shows 5 minutes after 6 o'clock. So we would say it's 6:05, or we would write it as 6:05. Telling time to the minutes. So it takes 1 minute for the minute hand to move from one mark on the clock to the next mark. So 20 minutes after 1 o'clock is 7 o'clock is 7:20. 21 minutes after 7 o'clock would be 7:21. You can read times after the hour in two ways. So here we say 54 minutes after 11 o'clock. Okay, so the hour hand isn't completely at the 12 yet, so we know that since it's between the 11 and the 12, we know it's 11 o'clock still. And then if I skip count it, I would skip count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And then I see that this darker dot here is 55. But my minute hand has stopped a minute before 11:55. Therefore, it's 11:54. We say 6 minutes before 12 o'clock or 6 minutes to 12 in this example. Okay, so we still see that it's at the same spot as in this example, but because it's at 11:54, we know that it's 6 minutes until 12 o'clock. So the first way that we can say this time, both of these are the same time. We can say that it's 11:54, or we can say that it's 54 minutes after 11 o'clock because 54 minutes have passed. Or we can say that it's 6 minutes to 12, okay? Or 6 minutes before 12 o'clock.